Everyone's talking about agility, being nimble in business, regardless of what you do. And you had to move quick, didn't you?
Well, I think adaptive is the word they're often referring to. And I think if you're looking at numbers and stats and ratios and customer behaviours and you're doing that every day, you can see some volatility there. And whereas in the normal course of business, you'd probably be looking at that stuff more like weekly or even monthly, particularly in relation to your key performance indicators. But immediately we went and had a look at behaviours and asked all our store managers if they're seeing any hardship, if they're seeing any change in behaviour at store level. And pretty quickly it was happening. Yeah, it was within days, like that mid-March, sort of 15th of March onwards. Things changed a lot from that point forward.
It was extraordinary, wasn't it? Things have calmed a bit now, and thankfully Australia has done very well in global terms. But there would have been people not getting paid, losing their job. Yeah. It was going bang, 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 bang.
Well, I think the biggest thing is the uncertainty. I think people thought they may lose their jobs, and others were asked not to come in on the following Monday and that sort of stuff. And they're our customers, they're our storage customers. So there was a bit of concern, but there was still, even at that time, some thought that this is only very temporary, so let's just hang on for a month and see what happens. Clearly, since then it's developed, as everyone knows, but we've been able to handle it by getting in front of it, and more than that, being on the case every single day, unfortunately. We've never worked harder in our lives, to be honest with you.
You've developed your own hardship team, and you've had to be agile and be good to your customers, I suppose, because you want to be good to them, but if they're going to be good to you in the future.
Yes, really important. I mean, you know, we've got a lot of customers who were going to become into hardship scenarios. So immediately we got together a centralised hardship team, a hotline, because we were finding a number of our store managers were saying some of our customers are in trouble, or they think they're going to be coming into trouble. They don't want to lose all their possessions that with us. I memean, people are storing their sentimental possessions that have been built up over a lifetime. And they didn't want to be in a position where they couldn't afford to be paying rent for them and conceivably losing those possessions. So it was pretty important. We got a team together, a centralised hotline that store managers originally rang, but then customers could ring directly and explain to us the various scenarios that they were going through. And I think a lot of companies did that and jumped on that, and those that did, I think, have handled it reasonably well. We didn't, from a business perspective, want people just panicking and leaving the business and like banks taking money out or that sort of scenario. We wanted to create an atmosphere of calm, and so immediately that sort of hardship officer that we put in place in our support centre made a big difference, and they put the customer at ease. The storer that was concerned about their own life possessions immediately said, look, forget about the rent for a little while you're dealing with this issue. We can do a deal over the course of the next 3 months to give you some time, some breathing space. And we've offered various types of hardship deals to a whole number of customers. I think we're up around about 650 customers across the group that are in line with that, and you know, $500,000 worth of rent relief. So it's been a difficult exercise from a business perspective, but from a community perspective, it was important that panic was submerged, and that the understanding was you'll have access to your goods. Don't panic too much about it.
So, Michael, if there ever was a business which is, you know, like custom made for where we're at the moment, it's this, because as we can see, storage after storage after storage, people come in with their own key, open up, and they don't have to see too many people.
Well, that's right. It's very private. Everyone fills out a privacy form at the start of their time with Storage King, but equally they use it for their own personal possessions. Sometimes even a husband may have possessions here the wife doesn't even know.
Of course.
Which can happen.
Or vice versa.
Or vice versa. So it's a very private thing. Every individual has their own lock-up unit, their own padlock, their own individual alarm. Yep. And so it's perfect for this sort of scenario.
You started it with Dave Scanlon, your business partner, back in the late 97, and
Yep.
was it around that time?
98, Dave Scanlon and myself, we'd been in the self-storage industry for a few years with another player, but we recognised even back then that this industry was massively fragmented, in a lot of ways like a whole bunch of other retail industries that were fragmented at the time, and we thought pulling together and consolidating into a single brand would have some advantages and some synergies, some economies of scale, be able to market together, get on the television, get on the radio. The yellow pages were big at the time, get big ads in yellow pages. And so we formed this brand called Storage King. It's just a name that I came up with way back in 98, and we approached a number of independent licensees, independent operators who had storage facilities at the time. It wasn't a big industry. And we got them together to join our brand. There was 18 in the original group, as it turns out. So we went from none to 18 in the space of a week or so, and we've sort of tried to move forward since then.
Oh, it's a great Australian business story. It's an aspirational story, isn't it? Because you didn't go in with a soft name. You called yourself Storage King because, and now you are the undisputed kings of storage. Tell us from 18 to where you are now.
Well, it sounds a bit of ego in the name King, but to be honest with you, that's how it started. I wanted to be the king of the storage industry. That's as pretty simple as I can put it. I didn't have the wherewithal in the financial terms to be able to do it, and my business partner Dave Scanlon certainly didn't as well. So the way in which we did it was under a franchise type model. We knew how to run storage facilities, we knew how to run retail outlets, having experienced that in the past. So that was our opportunity to get some scale immediately. When you've got scale in any business, you start to create the narrative for that industry.